it is. It's a planet Tyrus. And in my gravitational pull this week, I have the amazing Charlie Sheen. You've had an amazing career, I think.
Thank you.
At least, I mean, you've done a ton of movies, and we'll get into all this stuff, because one of my favorite movies, and they gave me a list, but I didn't need a list, because Cadence is one of my favorite movies
Seriously?
of all time. My football team, we were doing the Chain Gang song while we were training and stuff. Like, it was
Seriously.
Oh yeah, the sound. And brother,
trip.
Give Me Water. Like
Right.
that movie does not get enough credit.
Thank you.
That was a really good movie.
Thank you. Yeah,
And, not that you inspired the hand tattoos, but you know, 'cause you had the 8 balls.
I had the 8 balls. Yeah.
But those were that. I think Platoon are two movies that you just really played that role that everyone. You weren't present, and as the movie came, like in Platoon, you were there was an innocence there.
Sure.
Like it was virtuous. You signed up to do the right thing.
Right.
And then you woke up in hell.
Perfectly described. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we kind of watched you evolve,
Right.
And then in Cadence, it was basically looked like you just got out of Platoon.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Went to a bar, got hammered, got some hand tattoos, got in a fight, and ended up in Stockade.
Right.
So it could have been a sequel.
Right.
Was acting something? Was it your first love? Was
It wasn't.
It wasn't?
No, it wasn't.
I know
No.
this.
Yeah, it was baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah. Acting, making Super 8 films, with my family and my friends, that was a hobby.
Well, you had, your friend list is pretty significant.
It
wasn't in a wrestling term. It wasn't a bunch of ham and eggers. Like
Wasn't
I think there's
ham
a
and
lot of
eggers.
Academy Awards and Emmys and global like
There's a few,
just
yeah.
For the people who might not know, like the short list.
The Penn brothers, Sean
Yeah.
and Chris, the Lowe's, Rob and Chad.
Some guy named Downey Jr. I think.
He came a little bit later, and he was never in any of our short
You guys
films.
just got together like when you were younger and just started making films for fun.
Pretty much, yeah, because I didn't surf, and I didn't really skateboard.
I wasn't big on
much.
surfing and growing up in California either. I think it was the big feet.
Probably.
And
right.
my natural fear of being a great white meal just wasn't.
Yeah, because the only place they can't get you is on land.
Yes, which is it's 100%.
It is 100%.
Yes,
Yeah.
unless you're Samuel Jackson.
There's that thing.
Yeah, when they jump out of the air and snatch you.
Right.
Or a shark tornado, I guess. But was it tough? Because here's the deal. I played sports. And then later in my sport life, I kind of fell in and started doing entertainment stuff. I know for me that it was tough for me to let go of the sports life and mentality. Was it because you were a little bit younger when you realized that, hey, I'm not going to be playing baseball anymore? Was that difficult, or was it a choice where you decided?
No, it was situational, and it was it was tied to complete academic failure. And so when I realized that those two
staying eligible is a pain
had to stay, you had to exist hand in hand. Yeah, I just had to hang up my cleats.
So I went through, when I was playing ball, I went through a year where I was going to be ineligible, and I remember that terrifying feeling. And
because of grades.
Yeah, because I was the cool smart ass in the back of the classroom instead of doing my work.
Right.
Because I was going to play in the NFL anyway. So what do I need to do this shit for? And I remember when they said, "Well, smart guy, smart ass, you don't have a 2.0 grade point average going into the summer, so you're not going to play football next year."
Oh, that was the bar? Was 2?
2 point, in California, you had to have a 2.0 grade point average, which is not a high bar. You know what I'm saying? That's like, I guess now it would be considered a 4.0 because schools suck now, but when we were coming up, you actually had to do the work.
You did.
Yeah, you had to have a C average. And 2.0 was barely that. So I took about 6 summer school classes trying to get eligible, and I remember like spending that whole summer. All my friends were going in California summer, going to the beach, going to Big Bear, to doing all these things, and I'm at high desert transitional school taking classes trying to get eligible. That's when the light turned on for me. Like, hey, I can't be in this situation again. I have to actually start using my brain.
So was that your senior year?
It was my sophomore year.
Oh, of college?
Of high school. Like it was going to be all over.
Oh, okay.
Like it was going to be done.
It started early.
Yeah, well, the attention, because of my size and stuff, the football attention started early. Basketball attention started early. Started getting, oh, this kid's this, that, and whatever. So I was like, You know, I got it. They'll take care of me.
Sure.
And they're like, no, you got to get your grades. You ain't done shit yet. But it did trigger me to be like, hey, maybe I should actually start reading books. And which I did, which it turned out, luckily for me, when my athletic career was finally over, I actually had an adjusted brain to where I could do other things. So, and I mean, it wasn't like you took a step down. Like you went from, you became, I mean, you were a household name, by the time you were in your early 20s?
20, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot on a kid, isn't it?
21, yeah, no, it was a lot. It was a lot. And it seemed like it happened overnight.
Everybody wants a piece of you.
Yeah.
A lot of friends.
Yeah, a lot of new friends.
Ton of friends, right?
Yeah.
A lot of buddies.
Lots of buddies, yeah.
And then when things go wrong, they're never there.
Yeah, it's fireflies, right?
Yeah, and you had it, I think a lot of times people, I myself included, because it wasn't just, your brother Emilio was a star also, pretty much a household name. You guys did very different things. I think he was more on the funnier side. And then, of course, your dad is legendary. So that's a lot of pressure,
Sure.
to live up to his standard. I mean, you had Platoon, he had Apocalypse Now. Of course, you guys in Cadence together. Was you having the family in the acting world, was that a difficult thing to manage too?
I think it was double-edged. I think it was. I think it motivated me, but it also and it wasn't about being competitive. It was just about being, wanted to be considered as valuable or as worthy as I watched them. I think Emilio more so than Dad, because Dad was a constant.
Yeah,
that was just since our earliest memories are of him on a set.
Right. Yeah, you grew up on it.
Yeah. But when I saw what Emilio was doing, and I was still in high school, but really close to getting out, and I was like, that's, I could reach out and touch it, but I couldn't be a part of it.
What I think
What
I think is rare is that you guys didn't really overlap. A lot of times when you see brother actors or family, they all kind of play the same lane, and there's just levels of it.
Interesting.
Not to throw shade or anything, but you had, like, Baldwin was this bigger than life star. His brothers kind of had some moments,
right?
But they never really. But they were, it was the Baldwin, but it was Alec. It was, they never really talked about it, where you were considered like the serious actor. You did. It wasn't until like Major League, I think, was the first time that I thought like you did something kind of comical. You had great timing.
Even Ferris Bueller might have been just the first glimpse.
Yeah, just like a piece of it, because you did such heavy stuff.
Sure.
Like Platoon, the reason why, and it's funny because there were so many war movies, so many Vietnam movies, so many things, but Platoon's still here. And it still stands up to anything new.
Yeah, it's a trip.
It's like, it's the standard.
Yeah, and it was an independent film, essentially. Shot for $5 million.
Yeah, I mean, you can think about it, because you had Hamburger Hill.
Yeah.
You had a lot of big stars. You had Casualties of War with Sean Penn. There was a lot of other stuff, but and again, you don't know how to put Platoon. Kids today know that movie.
And I think also Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket to a certain extent.
Right, but Full Metal Jacket is 2 movies.
Yes.
Isn't it, though?
It's the beginning.
Yeah.
Because that's the part I watch.
Yes.
I watch right till he gets shot. Once they shoot my favorite guy.
Yeah, once they get to Vietnam, it's kind of like, it's hard to double London for Vietnam.
The other thing was it was so powerful.
Oh, yeah.
The opening thing.
Yeah.
Joker and the guy losing his mind, and we watch him again. Very similar, very, very innocent guy, much like yourself in Platoon. The difference is you evolved.
Right.
He didn't.
No.
Like, he got eaten alive.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a stunning performance.
I think he never gets enough credit.
He doesn't.
He's done so many things.
I know. No.
I think he plays Kingpin now. Like, he's an awesome actor. I watched, being in sports and being on the road pretty much my entire adult life. I had movie theaters.
Right.
Back I used to go to see everything. And then when you look back now, because you've accomplished so many things, what do you think you're like if I was to say, like, what is the movie that defines you? Which one would you say it was? Because you've got a lot to choose from. It's not like you have one hit wonder. You've got at least 3 iconic classics.
Yeah, no, thank you.
On top of the other stuff, but I'm saying stuff like, if I stop somebody in the hallway and like, hey, they got chili dogs over there? It was like, oh, Major League. You know, one of the greatest lines ever.
Thank you. Thank you. Wearing a vest with a tie.
Yes.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
They got chili dogs. I still laugh whenever that's such a good. Was that on the script or was that you?
No, that was all on the page.
That was on the page?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everything fabulous in that film was on the page. And it's in the top 3 scripts that I've ever read. Forget comedy, drama, romantic, whatever. No, it was just, you just knew, just the first time you read it, that this was special. In fact, I was late for an event, and I'd gotten the script, and David Ward was waiting for some feedback if I, connected to it or if I was interested. And I remember sitting in the back of a limo with 100 people, somewhere, expecting me at a certain time, and I wouldn't get out of the car until I finished that script. And I had it was the last 15 pages. So imagine having to go to the bathroom, watching the movie, watching Major
You're not
League.
leaving.
You're not leaving.
You're not.
No.
And again, just like Platoon, there's a ton of baseball movies with some amazing actors.
Yeah, it's funny. Hollywood.
Bull Durham. You got Kevin's got 2. He is at the one where he's pitching the Detroit. He's pitching the no-hitter.
Right. For Love of the Game.
Yeah, for Love of the Game.
Yeah.
Then of course you have Field of Dreams, which is like a family movie where you're trying to introduce your kids to baseball a little bit, but and then there's Major League, and again, it takes a whole cast to make something, but the iconic characters,
right?
And then of course for you, I think again you haven't told me which one, but.
Yeah, I didn't answer your question.
But I'm trying to set up because I feel like I want to guess, because Major League brought all your passions together.
Yeah, it did.
You got a chance, and and word on the street is you were throwing 86 miles an hour fastballs. Legit. I'm just on several solid sources.
It had a little more giddy up than I think everyone was expecting me to show up with. Which was cool because David Ward saw that and said, okay, I can make that look like, 99, 101. He said, yeah, we can work with this.
Well, they just put a little sound on it, but the thing is, it wasn't 4 takes when you pitched.
Right.
Other movies.
Or 4
the guy
cuts.
does his wind up, cut, stunt doubles in, pitch, then the catcher catches. Like you, it was like he's really pitching.
Right.
And I think that little thing made such a difference.
Thank you.
Because people appreciate that.
To have that entire wind up and delivery in slow motion for that final pitch, I think really brought that sequence just brought it to life in a way that just gave it that extra thing,
And your interaction with your manager, it was just the whole dichotomy of it.
Yeah.
Everyone who plays a sport related to that,
right? To
the old school guy.
Yeah.
He
was terrific. He was a lovely man.
I have used his phone call on about 4 jobs or TV shows I didn't want to do.
Oh, wow.
I got called by this wrestling company, like, hey, we want to bring you in. I said, I don't know. I got a guy on the other end on some white walls. Can I call you back? And they're like, huh? And I didn't call him back, but that's one of the, you're getting called to be a manager for the Cleveland Indians.
Right.
And he's like, I don't know.
He's selling tires, right?
Yeah, he was selling tires at the time. It was just, obviously, a movie was a big part of my childhood.
Amazing.
Wow. And then it all just kind of came together. Wild Thing, you get the great track. That's another thing that is associated with you and all your movies. You always have a kick-ass soundtrack.
Right.
You always have the song.
Interesting. Wow.
Wild Thing, Platoon, that score.
Yeah.
That everyone who's ever been dumped or has had a bad day in their car presses play, and at some point they're doing this in their living room. I know I've done that a few. Is that New Zealand when Defoe's getting shot up?
Right. It's like a crucifixion, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's like you play it all the way through.
Right.
You don't play it out loud. Right. It's a headphone gimmick.
Of course.
Or in your car with the windows rolled up.
Right.
And then of course one of my all-time favorite movies was Cadence, and we talked about that.
That's a trip.
The chain gang.
Because that one's kind of fell between the cracks.
And I don't get it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, it was cool. I think also the time, maybe it was a little too close to home, because there was this rift at the time, as black man and white guy, and you always get put into movies where it's complete opposites,
right?
Or it's stereotypes,
right?
And I think one of the things that made me really love the movie was when you kick the dude's ass in basketball. And I remember one of the actors said, "You just got your ass kicked by a one-eyed white boy." And I laughed my ass off because just because you're black doesn't mean you're good at basketball.
Interesting.
You know, like it's such a little thing, but like it just made it normal. Because I played basketball in high school and some of the best players weren't black. It just, you know, as it goes up, it just happens to work that way. But when you're just guys playing a game, that has nothing to do with it. And it was just, and you had problems, they had problems, and you guys just kind of, the relationship grew. You know, and then there was that tough moment where you just told the truth because he said help, but he didn't mean it that way. You know, and then they were like, "Oh, you just let him off." And then, you know, of course, they were like, they said that shit to you. We're like, "Hey, you're looking mighty white today." And then when you were leaving, the friendship was bigger than whatever bullshit happened because they started doing, you were doing the dance.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But it was, I still have that movie's on my playlist. Like,
seriously, wow.
Yeah, it's a great, I think it's some of your best work. I really do.
You. That's a trip. Wow, thank you.
Yeah, it was such a good, they gave me the list and I was offended. I was like, "Where's Cadence?" And they were like, so, "Oh, you guys got some homework."
Yeah.
It's such a, like, but I think that was kind of which made you different than Emilio. Your dad is just a whole different.
Yeah,
he's an institution.
Got his own planet. Yeah,
but still, most in the entertainment business, most kids, with very few exceptions, don't ever get close to the institution. You know, and you veered off and made your own institution. Like, no one says they don't. It's crazy because you never get compared to your dad or your brother because you all had your own tree, so to speak.
Yeah,
other people get compared.
Our own lanes.
Yeah, like your lanes were solid.
Yeah, thank you.
There was no crossover.
Yeah, I you know, again, stuff like that. Just there was never a plan. Like Emilio didn't set out and say, "I'm going to handle this," and then I didn't show up and say, "Oh, you already did that, so I'm going to go do this." It just organically, the way the opportunities arrived, the way things played out. I talk about in the book that Emilio was originally cast as Chris Taylor in Platoon.
That would have been different.
It's a different movie.
Completely different.
But then, and that never, it didn't create a rift between us. It wasn't ever, you know, we didn't really even talk about it that much. He didn't love the script. And I'm not out of school with that. He'll tell you. I didn't
See, that
dig
in
the
itself
script.
is amazing because I come from, when you're coming up, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I didn't even read some. Like,
right.
I'm like, wait, how am I dying again? You know?
Right. A bear tears
Because I
me
always
in
get
half.
killed.
Yeah.
Like, I always get killed by a guy like, well, around your height.
Right.
You know, in the movies, I always get killed. And there was one movie that they asked me, I was in the WWE, and they're like, "Hey, there's this movie." "Yeah, I'll do it." And they're like, "Do you want to see the script?" "No, I'm good."
Wow.
And then when we're on set, and I see they flew me in, and they had to put me in a body cast to make a body cast of me, a body double thing.
Right.
And there's this thing of me, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. What is there, like some cool stunt?" They're like, No. The killer's gonna climb out of you." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And they're like, in the script, go look at it. When you have the fight scene and he kills you, because I knew I was gonna get killed, he then cuts you open, climbs inside of you, and then your bad guy buddies bring you back to the lair where then he climbs out of you.
Like a Trojan horse.
Yeah. It's real.
Wow.
So I'm watching this at the Toronto Film Festival, and I'm like, I hate that. Dude, let me ask you, do you hate the sound of your voice? Like when you listen to yourself act and stuff?
I used to, but I had to surrender to just being okay with it.
Right, and I'm kind of the same thing. But I'm in the movie theater, I'm watching it, and I'm like sitting around, and you know, it's like my first like kind of film where people are paying attention a little bit.
Right.
I basically gave birth to a man on screen, and I was like, I just gave birth to a 115-pound English actor, but
that's kind of awesome.
But it's terrible at the same time, you know, because people are like, ew. But
did you start reading the script
after that? I paid attention.
Yeah.
Yes, I learned how to say.
I mean,
because saying no is scary.
Right.
You know, and especially so.
Oh, that an opportunity would
you'd say no, and you wouldn't get the opportunity.
Something
you know,
huge,
that's you know, it's like when you get established, you're able to pick and choose.
Right.
But when you're coming up, I just never wanted to risk. Like, if it's terrible, I'll make it work.
Sure.
If they're, you know, like, I'll just figure it out because it's a paycheck. You know, you kind of, at least that was my mindset. Obviously, nowhere near the success that you did with your films, but you mentioned briefly the memoir. How hard was it to write that memoir? I wrote one myself, my memoir, right? And it did all this New York Times, all this bestseller stuff.
Right.
I did when I was writing it, and I had a writing coach, and we're just, I'm pulling parts of my life, and I had to, I grew up with a lot of like crazy abuse and all this shit, and I'm talking about all this stuff, right? And the stuff that I normally would never talk about,
right?
And all this stuff is coming out, and I'm talking about relationship with my mother, which I never talk about, and not knowing my father, and like all this stuff, and I pour all this out into this, and this book is done, and I'm sitting there, and it's like 2 weeks before the book's coming out, and I go, oh shit, I don't want to talk about this with strangers. I just realized that I just put all my shit out there.
Right.
I called I say, hey, this isn't good. I changed my mind. We got to shut it down. We got to shut it down. We'll do something else. And they're like, it's in production. It's already in stores. And he's like, it's going to be fine. Wow. It's not going to be fine. Like, I don't want this out there.
So you had that.
Did you have that moment with this where you're like,
I did and I didn't, because the doc was happening at the same time as the book. And so I knew what I'd already spoken about in the doc. And I knew I'd already hit send on that one,
So it was like,
it was like, well, if the book doesn't follow up a lot of that stuff and follow it up differently, it's just a different way to tell stories, obviously. And so I again, it was just one of those things. I just rolled the dice, and I stopped trying to, predict what the results were going to look like, what the reaction was going to be. And it was just a thing about, you keep stuff inside for so long, and I have a ton of experience of how that feels.
Yes,
keeping shit in. You
just carry that weight.
Yeah, I didn't need any more.
But it always escapes in the worst ways. It's always somebody who doesn't deserve it that catches it. When you're holding that,
you mean like
when you're holding that rage or that sadness or that emptiness, it's always the person who's trying to get close to you that catches the hell.
It's misdirected usually,
yeah. Because they become a safe place, not knowing what's inside you.
Yeah, what box they just unlocked. Yeah. But then when it was out there. It was one of my early interviews promoting both projects, and one of the producers, this lady, said to me, "Wow, that was great. That was really cool that you were open talking about stuff." She says, "A lot of people have the experience that you had, where they put it all out there and then they panic about discussing it." And I said to her, "Well, if you're going to put it, in a doc and a book at the same time, I think you better be ready to discuss it."
Yeah.
In the interviews, and
which was, in my experience, my fears was that the people that, because one of the things I did and maybe is I made sure that I was the villain or I was the poor choice in every story. I never played the victim.
I didn't either.
Yeah,
so
and I think that's important.
I totally relate to that. Yeah.
And I said I was a thief. I said I was a thug. I was a liar, a cheater. I was, all these things, but I was never a victim.
Right.
And I thought that was my message, was like,
sure,
I'll own my stuff, and that doesn't mean for like owning your stuff and accountability and the way my mind works. It isn't about necessarily, you want forgiveness, right? The best thing in the world is to go to somebody you hurt or you let down and say, hey, I failed you. I'm sorry.
Right.
And they say, I forgive you. What I learned, especially when that feeling came of the thing, is that I had not forgave myself yet. And forgiveness isn't about them. That's the lesson I learned. It's about you. You letting go. They might not ever forgive you. So you can't carry that with you forever.
No.
All you can say is like, I've wronged. I know I've wronged.
Sure.
I'm doing everything I can not to be that person anymore. I'm sorry for what I did to you, but I'm going to forgive myself so I can move on.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's not always a popular thing for people to hear.
Right.
But that's the only way you get that shit off you. Do you
I totally agree. Yeah. Yeah. And I think another piece of that is what I would encounter is the expectation of somebody me needing someone to be on my timeline of forgiveness.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It might not ever happen.
Right. Or when they say, you know what, let me sit with that. Excuse me. Let me get back to you. And that could be 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
Or it could be the next morning.
Right.
Or it could also be the awesome example of it where they're like, Oh, what you're still thinking about that thing?
Yeah, that's the best thing you want to hear.
That was we were past that 10 years ago. And you're like, oh shit, okay, cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
People, because there's always, and that's another thing too. You are in a position to where you didn't have to do any of this. You could go off into the sunset. It's not like you're strapped for cash and struggling.
Right.
You could have just gone away. Why was it important for you to come out, not just do a book and a documentary, so everyone gets both sides of it?
Right.
Whether, people who read are going to read and people who watch, docs are going to doc. So there's two giant audiences there.
Sure. Why
do it, I guess?
It was not what was left behind, before I decided to put down the bottle and just get responsible and, become an adult again.
Yes.
Yeah. It didn't feel like that really was the message that I wanted as the final chapter in as far as the public is concerned. I knew personally there was going to be, just a lot of cool stuff in my future, but I couldn't leave it behind. That couldn't be the final scene in the movie.
Well, yeah, because you also grew up in the public eye.
Right. Yeah.
So for a lot of people who didn't, you've lived a lot of lives,
Sure.
and so you're trying to live new lives now.
Right.
So you're trying to bury some of the old stuff. And then for people who have aspersions or have, he's this or he's that or whatever.
Right.
This was your way of saying, like, listen, here it is.
Yeah.
Do what you want with it.
Sure.
But I'm moving on, and hopefully you move on with me.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was a chance to just, have a hand in a reset.
Right.
And adjust the narrative in a way that, because I'm sure there were before these projects, I'm sure there were people out there that either saw me as the guy in the bowling shirt writing jingles or the guy screaming winning.
Right.
So it was important for me to just I don't want to say set the record straight, but just
tell your story. Here it is.
Yeah, and let people know, hey, there was a lot more stuff going on behind the scenes that led to that meltdown, that led to that departure.
Well, it's very hard for people when they watch you on TV or movies. They don't realize when the camera turns off, it's a very different world that you live in.
Sure.
And it's dark. It's lonely. Like every time you look around, you don't know if somebody's patting you on the back or pulling your wallet out from underneath you. Then there's the thing that you're always gone. That was what my family's issue with me was when you were home to rest, pay bills, and try to get everything in 2 days.
Sure.
And we're not ready yet, and then you're gone. You don't have time to make up with your wife. If you have a fight when you get home, you don't talk for 2 days, and you're back on the road for another month. People don't realize again, there's benefits. You get the money, you get the recognition.
Sure.
The downside of it is your personal relationships struggle. It's a tough thing. And then you get into the point where you're like, look at the life you have. Look what I do provides this life. And they're like, well, we didn't want that life. We want you. And you know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
But then they say that and you're like, okay, cool. Let's turn in the Jags, get some Kias. Let's get a log cabin in Maine and just downsize. And hey, I'll do a movie once a year.
Right.
Well, let's not do that now.
Hold on. Yeah.
That's the thing. If you don't, and if it's too personal of a question, we'll edit it. But what was the moment that you were like, enough for the bottle? What was the moment that was it? Several things?
It was
a combination. Because that takes a lot.
It was a combination. Yeah, it was like just being smart enough to start paying attention to my body. Right. And when the insides are trying to literally live on the outside, that's a moment that needs adjusting, But it was also I just didn't feel I didn't feel that I was available to the people that count on me the most, and available in a way that they came to rely on, but then had to make adjustments based on my choices. You know, I got really tired of just disappointing people and ultimately letting myself down.
Especially when you're. Now, my thing wasn't alcohol. My thing was food and having a woman in each town and all that bullshit.
Right.
Those things, like I would drink and stuff, but more socially, but never could drink not to get a buzz, you know? But I was different because I had to do it in a group. Like I wouldn't go home and like drop pour a bottle of scotch and like empty it while I watched the baseball game.
Okay.
So it was more of a thing where I had to be out and had to be on all the time. I had to be the funniest guy in the room. I had to be the coolest wrestler around. I had to make sure everyone liked me. Which
it's a full-time job.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
And you're not taking care of the people who actually care about you.
Right.
Who are dealing with you when you can barely walk from doing too many stupid shit because you and the boys went. Because we would, wrestling is simulated combat, but all that shit hurts. Like you can't, and then you go on, the buddies drinking all night, don't call home. Then you're in an arena somewhere and they're like, hey, would it be cool tonight if I suplex you through a table? Yeah, let's do it, bro. Let's do it. And then then you come home, you can barely walk and it's your wife that has to take care of you, and you just don't. And then you're bitching at her because she's on you about stuff, like the reality of life is tough because in front of the camera, everyone likes you. Everyone wants to support you. And real life is hard. And that's a tough. And you can't play a character in that.
There's no script in real life, is there? Yeah, no.
When you look back at such a so many highs.
Can I touch on something though?
Sure.
The thing that you just talked about that was always in a group and you wanted to make sure everybody was having a good time.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to that. But another thing that I would always that struck me at the end of the night, it felt like the entire night was one long interview.
Yes.
Right? With a bunch of different people for the last, for 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 hours, right? And all I did was answer questions about myself.
And pay for shit.
And pay for shit, right.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I learned anything.
No.
Because I wasn't engaging, it wasn't a two-way street. And it wasn't like, well, tell me about that. You do that for a living?
Right, yeah,
what does that look like? I'm curious, genuinely, So it was just, it got into that thing. It's like,
you were always working.
Always working, yes. Yeah, it was a full-time job with very, very few benefits.
No benefit.
None.
If you look back on it, you're like, especially isn't it weird when you run into somebody that you used to like party with and stuff and they're still there?
Oh, yeah.
And it's the most awkward shit in the world. And they're like, oh man, there's this new club in Santa Monica, bro. You got to check it out. And you're like, you're 65 years old, sir. Let it go. Like,
yeah. It's a young man's
What are you
game.
doing? I'm playing gin rummy with my 11-year-old this weekend.
Right,
We got an extra chair.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe afterwards we're going to make brownies.
Sure.
Like that to me is a bigger high than going in.
And you were looking forward to that plan.
Oh, yeah. And then when I get there, because she's 11 now,
right.
She like literally just 2 days ago, she got photos done with her horses.
Oh, okay.
And I got choked up. I was upset. And
Sure.
my wife was like, what's, I said, she's grown.
Yeah.
Like they grow so fast.
Yeah.
And for everyone who's with them every day, it's like, oh yeah. But when you're gone all the time and like you walk in and when you left and all of a sudden you notice your kid's an extra 2 inches, it's like,
yeah,
I miss that. You know?
No, I would experience some of that in the middle of a divorce.
Yeah.
And the kids are allowed to be here, but not allowed to be there. And so there's those gaps. And there was this one moment, it was a trip because, toddlers. When does a toddler stop being a toddler? Like 3, 4?
I think when they start asking all the questions.
Okay, yeah.
Why is this? Why is that? Why is this? Because it's new. We forget it's new to them.
Sam would always include her. She would identify herself in the description of what she was doing. Sammy does this. Sammy go in here. The day that she came out of the car one day and said, "I." Use the word "I" was like, it was a trip because then she had transformed to the place of self-identification.
Yes.
Of like knowing that she's her own human. and and then I saw things from that moment, just the evolution of but that was a flashpoint I found was fascinating.
Because it's you've like I said,
that doesn't relate to what you were talking about.
No, but it does in a sense because I can relate because again, I talk about it in my book. I had 3 kids in 2011, and none of their hairs matched. You know what I'm saying? I was diverse.
Wow.
I had one from each different culture.
Well, I have 5 with 3 women.
Okay, so we're both a couple of whores here.
We're in the same club, right?
We're in the same club. And at first, when the news hit me, I tried to avoid it.
Right.
I was like, hey, and it was funny because I was married before that, and we tried to have kids. We could never have kids. So I assumed that I was. So when I got divorced, I don't know, it was party time. I could do whatever I wanted.
Right.
First 3 women I dated, I got knocked up. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And
we're batting 1,000 at least.
Yeah, Well, although if I ever see the fertility doctor, I'm him up on site because that was a horrible. Horrible
so
misdiagnosis.
You went through that whole thing.
Yeah, because it wasn't her, it was me.
Yeah, wow.
So when we got divorced, because she, there was some cold shit. I need a real man. You're 6'8", you're this big monster, and you're shooting blanks. So how's that possible? And I was like, I don't know. Adopt one, but it just didn't, it didn't work out. But that became my excuse to disconnecting from the marriage.
Right.
And then we always find an excuse. We're clever when we don't want to deal with our own shit.
Sure.
We always find something, like, hey, what was that shit you said last February? Well, I'm out. I just hit me, and they're like, what? So
took me a minute to process, but here's my verdict.
I struggle with that. And then you can't be everywhere. So no matter what you do, somebody's going to miss out.
Right.
So then you go through that thing where you try to pay it because you're able to.
Sure. Sure.
And then you realize that, well, as long as I'm paying support and everybody's good, I'm a good dad.
Right.
And then you'll see some guy playing at the park with his kid, and you're like, I'm not a good dad.
Yeah.
That's tough to deal with.
Yeah, you see them with that check.
You envy the school teacher with the weekends off who's spending time with his family.
Right.
But he's not having thousands of people want an autograph from him. So it's like there's this tough duality, and then that's what I think leads to a lot of the dark times. I think,
just craving a balance.
Right.
Some type of balance. And then you get resentful about the job.
Yes.
Pulling you away from that. And then you get resentful about the other side because it's creating distractions at the job. And it's, I don't know that there's a solution. Maybe just.
I think we all have to kind of, if you choose this path, they never tell you the dark side of it.
Right.
But you have to live it. And either you survive it or you don't. And we know plenty of people in this business that did not survive it. And I'm not just talking about whether their life ended or whatever, but I'm just saying just complete a shell of whom they are and what they are. Right. And the worst thing in the world is when you see a guy who had it for a little while, it's gone, and he's trying to get it back.
Right.
That's some of the most painful things to see somebody that
and he's the only one that can't see that it's not re-attainable, if that's even a word.
Yeah. Kind of,
Yeah.
And in wrestling, you see it in a lot. You're WWE, there's guys who were one time, they were the top wrestler in the world, and then a lot of times they don't have a transition because one of the mistakes that a lot of wrestlers think, like, I'll just go into acting. But wrestling and acting are 2 different things. Completely 2 different animals.
Right. They have the performance component in play, but in a
very different way, in the sense that, like, wrestling is one take. You get one moment.
Interesting. Yeah.
Acting, you have to be able to have that one take and then be able to do it 30 more times.
Sure. Yeah.
You have to be able to play that character.
You got to tell the same joke at a party 30 times
and get the
still get a laugh. Yeah.
Same laugh.
Yeah.
Whereas wrestling, these guys, they do it once, like, okay, we're good.
Right.
Like, no, well, that's just one angle. And then let's try it different ways, and then either you have that in your bag,
or
you don't. And you see a lot of guys that, and it's not just wrestling. It's just, it always seems like wherever you're at, you want to do something else. Like someone's a great actor, all of a sudden they want to be a singer. So then
I could never relate to that.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you've owned this space. I mean, you've killed it.
You got a good lane.
Right. Yeah. And there's people doing the other thing like at the world class level.
Yeah.
Why? What's the allure?
I always think it's arrogance and having yes people around you.
Probably,
which is probably the dangerous thing. Like one of the things. Let me ask you, have you in getting to a better place, getting to be the best you? Did you have to cut your circle significantly?
Yes and no. A lot of that circle cut itself. Because there's people that suddenly just like from one day to the next, you literally have suddenly nothing in common with them.
Right. And a lot of the time is, and this is the painful part, is that your relationship was based on friendship. Their relationship was based on your stardom. So let's just say after 2.5 Men debacle bullshit, like, oh, he's done. He's never going to do a major thing again. So I don't like him anymore. Like there's this, with me, it was, when I started working at Fox News, everybody was like, oh, well, Tyrus, like the hell with him. Like, look at him. He's a conservative Uncle Tom now. Like he's like, these are people because they were like, well, because, but if I was acting and I stayed wrestling at the time when everything was super left, Hollywood was what it was, but it's changed a lot now. But when that happened, it was friends that I had for years, boys that I thought I had, just block phone numbers and like, oh, I'm sorry, man, I can't believe you'd work for that network. Wow. And I was like, this racist network that gave a wrestling brother football smartass an opportunity on a comedy show,
right? With
absolutely no reference that like, other than doing some cracking jokes in a locker room for 12 years, right? Like, there was no. They took a chance on me, so because CNN wasn't hiring. You know what I'm saying? Like they wouldn't even hear me at the door.
Wow.
So and you carry that. And I went from this popular guy, I was on 2 or 3 different TV series, and I was starting to kind of make my way, and all of a sudden it just stopped. And it was like producers and stuff, casting directors who would be like, "Hey, I'd love to have you." Like, how long is this Fox thing gonna go? And you're just like, what does that matter? It's a comedy show. Wow. I make jokes.
Right.
I'm not running for president, and it changes. The people change. Obviously, you're an iconic figure, whether you like it or not. Like that's never going to go away, no matter. You're with the book and the documentary and your personal relationships. You're making that change, and I think that's admirable, and I think that's good for you.
Thank you.
But there's always going to be people that don't care, because they're just in love with the guy on the camera, and all they care about is if you're going to do another film. Now that you're back, I mean, I think when you get older, you get this thing called wisdom.
Right. Yeah.
And when you make decisions now, how much of it do you rely on just your gut, or do you just surround yourself with the right people, or it's just you now making the calls?
It's always been gut, and that continues to be the case. But it's the same gut that did lead to, a lot of really smart and good decisions with great outcomes. But that same gut did.
You're preaching to the choir, man.
You know what I'm saying? So but I don't feel like there's a disconnect anymore. I feel like the instinct here is aligned with the intellect up here. And I think. No, I'm not in a rush to do anything, which is good.
Right, which would be bad if you were.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, because I don't want to have survived all of that and then just suddenly jump into something that doesn't really honor that journey.
Just to say I'm doing something.
Yeah, hey, I'm back. Yeah. And it's cool. I mean, this whole moment that we're in the middle of.
Right.
Is it's exciting and was generated by doing checking 2 boxes that I'd never done before.
Yeah, I'm always documentaries. Always, I typically don't like them because I'm forced to watch them.
Right.
My wife is a documentary
Junkie. Yeah.
and hates movies.
Oh.
So it's one of those things where we probably should have discussed that before we got married.
Maybe.
But it's like, but as a man, you know how it works.
Right.
Like, I'll be like, hey, the new Marvel movie's out. She's like, I'm not watching that. You watch that by your damn self. Oh, by the way, there's a Betty Crocker documentary on and how the cookbooks got started. I can't wait, honey.
Yeah.
You know, so, but
that's easily the worst documentary ever produced.
Yeah.
Is the Betty Crocker one.
yeah. Oh, they're all,
Yeah.
because I always watch them from the aspect of who's producing it, right?
Right.
Because sometimes, you know, and they're usually not kind of men. We get murdered on most documentaries, unless, of course, we're the serial killer they're talking about.
Right.
And and in your documentary, that doesn't happen. Is that, did you have a lot of hands-on on everything, or was it, did you just trust them to tell the actual story?
I was hands-on with a lot of the prep for it, as far as the archival
Right.
and helping the director really get what he needed. You know, just get all the details,
Right.
and all the material.
But that's a huge risk.
Yeah, but then I didn't want to be a producer on it, because then it would look like I
You're
was shaping
molding the narrative. No. So
Yeah.
you just basically said, here it is.
Yeah. So once I gave all the everything that I could provide, I was never in the editing room. I saw an early rough cut, and had 2 notes just about the way I looked, not about
Right.
the content. You know, and I stayed out of it. I stayed out of it.
Was that difficult? Because
it wasn't. It wasn't. Because the amount of time that I spent with Andrew Renzi, who directed it and produced it, the year leading up to it, we developed a friendship and a trust, and just really bonded in a way that I really felt that it was going to be in the best possible hands imaginable.
and to put something out there that you were like, hey, this is my story, and I'm just going to tell it, and wherever the chips fall, they may. That's not something that's done very often. We see a lot of people who are like, whoa, pull this back.
And I can tell when I'm watching those, and I feel I feel ripped off.
Yes.
I won't mention names.
Yes, but
there were a couple recently.
Yeah.
And I was like, really, dude? Come on, man.
I've done a lot of like, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Right. So I didn't want that to be people's response to it, you know?
Right.
I wanted them to be like, oh, damn, this dude was just like...
He just told it, but then again, that kind of
is.
falls in with who you have always presented yourself to be.
I think so.
Yeah,
Thank
whether
you. Yeah.
good, bad, or indifferent, you always were a straight shooter. I think
Right.
probably more than you needed to be,
Sure.
because you would say things that people with similar issues would never admit to.
Yeah.
Would never put themselves out there like that. And I always applaud people who are willing to stand up and say, "This, I'm flawed.
Right.
I up.
Right.
I own it." And other people, it's, well, you have to understand the pressure, and they always have a reason for bad behavior and mistakes, or not dealing with your demons or whatever. That's always somebody else. There's always a hint of narcissism in there.
Sure.
And I just meeting you for the first time, I don't get any of that. And I wouldn't bullshit you, because I was even, I would tell you, like,
Right
bro,
on.
you sound like a dude who's not ready to me.
Thank you.
From a guy who grew up around drug addicts and people like who didn't meet their potential or had issues or whatever. They're very good at gaslighting.
Wow.
They're very good at like saying what needs to be said
Sure.
in that moment to keep the facade going.
Right.
And I don't get that from you at all.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're not bullshitting.
I don't get that from you either.
No, because
Yeah.
I'm too big. My face. Here's the thing about my face. This is probably why I get in trouble a lot. I cannot hide it.
Right.
Like if someone is talking and I don't like them, my face is like, F this guy. And they'll be like, is everything okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Why? They're like, well, you look like you want to hit me. Really? Hold on. How's that? Like, nope, you still want to hit me.
Damn.
So, and that's it's rare, because a guy of your stature you don't need to do this. And I think it's admirable that you're putting yourself out there.
Thank you.
What if someone was to ask you, like, what's the biggest takeaway you would want them to take from the documentary? What would you tell them? Like, it's like, hey, what to you was the moment of the documentary that most impacted you when you actually sat down and got to watch it for the first time?
that for me
personally,
it wasn't one specific thing. It was more of it was more thematic, and it was the seen historically the relationship with my dad, and just how much I really treasure that.
right?
But being able to see it through all the years and all the different, just everything that I put him through, that he put me through, that we went through together. That was the thing that I because what I talk about it's how I describe the book is that I think it's a story about a little kid just trying to get back home.
Right.
That's what I think it's about, And so I can see similarities with my dad in the doc, even though he doesn't sit down for interviews. He's in the freaking doc. I mean, he's a central figure, And so it just gave me just not that I needed to be reminded, but it just just for today's reality, it just re-cemented what I know we've always had.
You basically made and kids, they shouldn't be watching this anyways, but you made a photo album of your life, your ups and downs, and you were able to look back and see your relationship with your dad in a way that most people would never get to do because it wasn't documented.
Exactly. And that's where Renzi, where the director, that's the stuff I could never tell him in a meeting. Hey,
right.
Make sure.
Yeah, well, it's like representing yourself in a negotiation for money. It's not going to go well.
Never.
Because, we all have we all want to be the good guy at the end.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes you can get there, but
right.
You have to give them a reason to cheer for you, which means you got to show the villain. You got to show the dark side, because that's what connects people to you, because more people go through bad shit. And when they see someone that they admire, or they see somebody that they look up to, or they repeat their catchphrases in movies and stuff, and they see that they're a human being too who's made mistakes, it's a lot easier for them to process their own shit.
Interesting.
Because it's like, hey, there's a guy that had it all, and he had the same problems I did. So maybe I'm not as bad of a loser as I thought I was.
Right.
Because everybody hurts. Everybody makes mistakes. The difference is that you had to be better in front of everyone, no matter what was going on in your life. Whether you had a bender, whether you had a divorce, whether you weren't talking to your family, whatever was going on, no one gave a shit on 2.5 Men. When that camera turned on, you had to be hysterical.
Yeah.
And you had to be better than the episode before, so we would keep tuning in.
Sure.
That pressure to always be better, regardless of what's ever going on. And I can tell you, there's been a million times where I've 5 minutes before I go on TV, I make the dumbest mistake of answering the phone while I'm fighting with a loved one or whatever. Wow. And you're dealing with stuff where you're like, and like, oh, I want to see my kid. And like, you're not gonna let me see my kid. And you're going through all these things.
And it's impossible not to carry that.
And then you walk out there like, all right, action. Hey, let me pick up my fake kid and hug him. Yeah. And I don't get to see one of my kids. It's like, it's tough.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And it's people say, well, you need to be able to draw that line. You need
Try it.
Yeah. Thank you. Try it.
Yeah, that's why people say it's better to love and lost than not love at all. Try it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's no, you're right about taking that last minute phone call.
Don't do it.
No.
But you have to do it.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to be told you're never there when they need you.
Right.
And then when you answer it, because they know, and you can't use it as an excuse. You can't say, well, you don't understand.
Right.
The complexities of what I do. Because they don't give a shit.
Right.
Like you can.
You can't.
I'm in character.
Yeah.
I can't break character until the DVD comes out. They don't care.
No.
Then
it's not their reality.
It's a tough life, but then you have moments, and
and where it's all worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And getting to see the things that you've done, even in Cadence. You and him was phenomenal.
And he wasn't supposed to play that role. He was directing.
That's not the same movie without him.
I know. But his character was originally cast as Gary Busey.
You made a good move.
Yeah, he made it for us because it was his first job after the accident.
Right.
He bonked his head, and he wasn't right, and he wasn't ready to go back to work.
Right.
And he shouldn't have been cleared. He was still a fall risk.
He was too young.
Well, interesting.
That was the big dynamic.
Yeah.
Was when he said, he tried to give you chocolate and I have a photographic memory, so it's worthless. But I remember movies and shit, right? But there was that moment where he's trying to reach you. He offers you chocolate. I got a kid your age and this, that, whatever. And he's like, wait, why can't we do this? And you just look at him and say, because I can't stand everything you stand for.
Wow.
You destroyed him in one sentence. And no one's an idiot. We know that's your dad.
Right.
And you're his son. And that was like, how many conversations does that happen in America where a father's trying to reach his rebellious son and he's like, I don't want to be like you.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
And his reaction was just no words. And then he was never the same the rest of the film.
Interesting. You're right. Yeah.
But like that doesn't work if it's not that father-son dynamic, I think. That's why I get pissed when people don't include that movie. I'm like, there's a reason why you remember lines from movies. Either they're like, I don't remember one line from Out of Africa. And it won an Academy Award.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No disrespect, but that movie was terrible. But then there's iconic.
I never saw it.
My mother made me watch it.
Okay.
To get me to stop complaining about The Color Purple not getting in.
I don't think I ever saw The Color Purple.
You should. Mister's good. You'd like Mister.
Okay.
Yeah, Mister's
okay.
good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, Oprah's good.
Yeah.
Harpo's good. It's a fun.
No, it's an iconic film.
Yeah, it's got those lines and stuff. It's not bad. I would recommend just
films I missed.
One of those. I missed Edward Scissorhands.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about it at the time. I think I was living on couches trying to play ball.
Right.
It's my daughter's favorite Halloween movie, so I sat down with her and she's like, "You gotta watch this movie. It's phenomenal."
Did it land with you? Or?
I felt it was like Dr. Seuss Ran Away kind of a movie. I was waiting for the Cat in the Hat to show up.
Right.
But I also I like the nostalgia of the old, because I feel like and before I let you go, like the world has gotten so fast that I kind of miss the 90s a little bit.
I think we all do.
I think it's just, for just to slow down, like I don't think you need to answer your damn phone every time somebody calls you. I think social media is the worst thing in the world. I think it's terrible for kids. Like I make my kids go outside and their other friends look at them like they're crazy. When they come over we have play dates now.
Wow.
When we grew up, it was get your ass out the house. Don't come in till 5.
Right.
I'm thirsty. There's a hose.
Right.
And if you did come in the house, you got made to do chores.
Sure.
So you stayed outside all day, rode bikes, played pickup baseball. We used to play baseball in the streets with a tennis ball.
Yeah. We did too. Yeah.
And those were some of the most serious games. I still remember the home run I hit, even though I was playing Little League and all that other stuff, like I think about the street ball games and arguing over whether a catch was 10 yards and you're marching 1, 2, you're short. Like, let me do it. And my legs are longer. See, we made it,
Right.
But that was
you were the chains.
Yeah, the chain.
Yeah.
And we played car markers. It was like the touchdown was on the other side of the station wagon and this. And the manhole was home plate, and you always had a cool neighbor who would let you use something as second base or whatever. And I think about that and I drive through neighborhoods and travel. I don't see that anywhere anymore.
You don't see it.
And I'm like, it's such a disservice. Like, it sucks that and they'll say, well, we've evolved.
Right.
Do you feel like that? Do you think, I think the
technology has. I don't know if the humans have.
Yeah, right. People need to play outside more, I think.
Yeah, as long as it's not lacrosse.
Well, you know what? I can't say that because
one of your children plays.
They might happen. Because if you would have told me that I was going to be at equestrian events as a black man with his daughter, I would have told you you're out of your fucking mind. Like, a lot of times I'm the darkest dude there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
wow, yeah.
And I get invited to like polo games and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, bucket list, living the dream.
Wow.
Like, hey, come out and do the coin flip for the polo team. And I'm like, and they were prestigious, and I love them. My daughter loves them. And but again, for me, it was a whole new world that I knew absolutely nothing about. Never took any interest in it.
Right.
Now I'm obsessed with it. I have to know everything because my daughters do it. She's 11 years old and she's jumping 1.10 m. So and I thought it was something she would just kind of do, and then next thing I know, apparently she's Tiger Woods out there because she's jumping against junior Olympians. She's killing it. She's only doing a year and she's jumping 1.10 m which is basically almost 4 feet. I think it's like 3.5, 3 feet. It's insane. And
Wow.
a 2,000-pound animal, every time she jumps, I die a little. You know, like
How could you not? How could you not?
know?
Yeah,
And
my daughters did that for a couple of years, and I remember that feeling like
oh yeah.
you want to do something and you can't.
And then if you do cheer, it's not allowed.
So yeah, it's not encouraged.
Yeah, because I cheered the same. There's no Jason. I'm a Celtics fan. If Jason Tatum hits a 3 at the buzzer, I'm doing the same thing for my kids whenever they do anything. You know, and I guess what I'm doing, I'm a spectacle.
Right.
You know, and then my wife's like, we don't even sit together. Like she's like, sit over there. Don't make any noise.
Wow.
Don't bother anybody.
Wow.
Like just quiet. You know. And I'm like, no, that's not who I am. And my son, he hits a home run in baseball. I'm going insane for him. He strikes out. I'm there for him.
Right.
You know. But
Yeah.
you know what? When did you? Let me ask you just baseball real quick before we go. When did you stop crying when you struck out? I remember striking out was the worst walk in your life back to the dugout.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't want your teammates to see you crying.
No.
So you hold it all the way in, and you always have to go get a drink of water and the thing. And that's when you boo-hoo out.
I think probably 10, maybe 12.
Is when you finally
Is that too late?
No. I was 18. I just went through that with my son. My son's 14, but when he was 10, if he struck out,
He was crying.
My heart would just fall apart.
Right,
I'd
right.
pop up, ground out, just don't strike out
Right,
because
right.
the rest of the game he's useless, right? Because
Because he can't leave. He can't get past that.
I'd sneak around because I knew.
Right.
So he'd come around the dugout. I'd be waiting. I'd give him a hug, and I was like, "Hey, man, it just wasn't your pitch.
Right.
Just wasn't your pitch.
Right.
You know,
and
a hell of a swing.
That at bat is over.
Yeah, it's done.
It's over.
You know, and then now he'll strike out. He'll just kind of tip his hat to the pitcher, and he'll walk back, and I'll be like, "Are you all right?" He's like, "Yeah, wasn't my pitch." And I'm like,
the stuff he used to tell him.
Yeah, and I was like, oh.
nice.
You know, and but I always
what level is he playing at?
So he's 14.
Okay.
He does travel ball.
Okay.
But he's left-handed.
Okay.
He's a switch hitter, and he's 6'5".
Okay. Wow.
So, but the problem is that he's outgrowing the strike zone. Like he's doing fine. He's leads his team in average and dingers at the moment. But I keep saying, like, you know, very few guys that height, and he's only 14, which means I'm going to be looking up at my son. You know, which is okay. But
You think it's switching sports?
That's what.
I mean, you've got the anomalies of Ellie De La Cruz. You've got O'Neal
Judge.
Cruz.
I mean, it can happen.
Yeah.
But my thing has always been not to drag the path for them. You know, like, I don't want you to feel like you have to do what I did. Like, I played football and it did some great things for me, led to some stuff. I did, you know, if my son's a 6'8" artist, so be it, or an architect or a scientist. I just don't ever want to put, because I also know, and you relate to this, the other side of it. And you're like, I don't want him to go through that.
Right.
You know, because the entertainment business is brutal. And in a lot of cases, it'll eat you up.
Sure.
So there's a certain part of me that would be like, get a nice job, meet a nice girl, have a family.
Something consistent.
Yeah, you know, like, because this, you know, and a lot of us can't get back up.
Yeah.
You know, and those of us who can, we can't sell you the recipe.
There isn't one.
No. Like, if someone came to you, hey, Charlie, how do I get my career back? You'd be like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Keep believing.
Write a
in
book.
Yeah. Right.
Do a documentary.
I mean,
try that. You know.
Right.
But yeah, hey man, I really appreciate this time, man. I didn't know what to expect.
This has
been really cool.
Likewise, thank you. And then I'm going to get yelled at for the lacrosse thing, and they are recruiting athletes from that sport for other sports.
Yes,
yeah.
Like, lacrosse is a great sport.
Yes, it is. The problem, though, is the reason it's never going to be front and center, mainstream, like the thing everybody's watching and cheering for. You can't see the ball.
No, and they don't fight.
Oh.
You got to have the hockey aspect to it. You got to have a lacrosse fight breakout.
There you go.
Maybe knee on the ball.
Knee on the ball.
And the masks. Here's the thing: you can't connect with the player.
Yeah.
Because you can't see him.
Can't see him.
But football, you had the big hits, and you had the football, which you could, you know. But in lacrosse, it's like he'll throw a thing, and you're like, "Do you score?" The ref said he did, so we'll take him for his word at it.
You see it in slow motion, you're like, "Oh, yeah, that was fancy." And
lacrosse and jumping horses, same kind of deal. The difference is it's pretty awesome when they're jumping the horses and stuff. But there's other sides of it that I was like the hunter stuff and where they get judged by a judge. Like a pageant, like you and the horse, and if the horse lands on the wrong foot, you're fucked. And I'm like, my daughter handled that because she was doing all three, and she came back from one, and they had what they call a nick. It's when the horse's hoof hits the pole, it's frowned upon, and which is typically the judge takes points off.
Right.
But she did the thing. Competition's over, and she won first place.
Oh wow!
And that's what I thought. And I went walking down to congratulate my daughter, and she's got a look on her face and it's my face, so I'm like, I know the look.
Right.
And I was like, what's the matter? She's like, I don't want this ribbon. She's like, I had 2 nicks. There's no way I want it. This is, Dad, this is bullshit. This is a pageant. You know, she's like, I don't want it. And I was like,
so she took herself out.
Yeah, and then she said, well, she told me and her mom, my wife, she said, hey, we got to pull the plug on this thing. It's already spilling out anyways. Like, I don't want no parts of this. I just want to race the clock. Like, I'll jump against the clock. It's fair.
Right.
If I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. I don't need some old people telling me that my horse wasn't pretty when I know she was.
Right.
So I was like, all right, sweetheart. I couldn't have been prouder of her. So the jumping aspect, I'm all for it. Like, I'm all in it. I'm in it to win it. Yeah.
I got you.
I get, that's why I'm not retiring. And like, I planned on it next year. Like,
right.
Yeah. Horse dad, and I got to.
Yeah, I exceeded my my fantasy retirement year as well.
Yeah,
but it's fine. Whatever. There's more work to do. There's more cool work to do.
Yes.
And then how about the people that retire and then they go home and the wife is like, "You're useless."
Yes. That's my biggest. I'm home 3 days a week, and they're like, and my wife is like, "I am not a hotel. I'm not cleaning up after you. Make your bed. Like, you make the bed in the morning. Like, like do your trash needs to go out.
Right.
Fix this. Fix that.
The honeydews.
Yes.
The honeydew list. Yeah.
And then there's sometimes you're like, I shouldn't be getting treated like this. After all, I'm
sure.
I'm doing big things on TV, and then like that take out the trash. Right. That's all you're doing here. But it also it humbles you, and then you know that they care about you. But yeah, that's the other thing about retirement. I didn't know what I was going to do. I think sitting in the sun for because I like to. That's one of my favorite things. The older you get, the less you need. And like sitting in the chair and with the sun on my face outside is like one of my favorite.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah, you're just there. You're just there. You don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
It's like, just give me 15 minutes and the rest of the day is yours. That's when that becomes the most, like, that's the trip that you're looking to take.
Right.
I think you're doing it right, because it's the little things that at the, I don't want to say the end, but like when we get to a point, it's like you don't need the 1,000 people around you, and you just need a little sun on your face and your family to understand that, like, I'm fucking trying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying, okay?
Yeah.
And I think that's how we navigate through all this stuff. We keep trying.
Sure.
So the documentary is on Netflix, right?
Correct.
And the book, where can everybody get it?
They can go to
Threw them on the spot.
Charlie Sheen book.com, thebookofsheen.com, something.
Great title, by the way.
Thank you. I came up with that. I don't know where to find the book. I mean,
I'm sure it's on Amazon, right?
It's on Amazon.
Right? Yeah, it's on Amazon. You probably could pick it up at a Barnes and Nobles, perhaps.
It's at all the airports.
Yeah. You see yourself at the airport?
I do. It's pretty cool.
Let me ask you this.
Pretty cool.
When you sit in the thing, do you ever like pick your movie?
Oh, from the menu?
Yeah, when you're sitting in the first class, you're flying somewhere. You're just all private now. But
no, I don't do private.
Yeah, neither do I.
No.
My wife and daughter do. I don't. Do you ever pick your own movie?
I never have.
Really?
I never have. No.
For real?
For real.
I feel like a dick then, because I'll be like, oh look, it's the Gutfeld show. Fox is on, huh? Who's this guy? Oh, this dude's Riot.
But that's a half-hour commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're picking an episode.
Yeah.
If there was some 2.5 stuff, I may when no one's looking, just
Because I've even said, hey, I'd flip on Fox if I were you. This is young guy on here. He's hilarious. Tell me what you think. And they're like talking and they're like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. And then it's just like a slow kind of a turn.
Wow.
I was like, thanks for watching. Like, you just gave me a point on my ratings. Appreciate you. But that's I would think, because your movies are still on the air. That's cool when you look and see Platoon on there and Major League.
Yeah, no, it's a trip to have done work that is multi-generational. That that's like, even if you think of Major League, just as for baseball, for the baseball relationship between a father and a son.
Right.
That film is sort of handed down. It's like a rite of passage for that for that kid's journey.
Who's your favorite team?
I'm a Reds fan.
You know what? I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. You got my manager, Francona. I'm a Red Sox fan. I miss him terribly.
Okay, yeah. And he sniffed October, his first season, which is good, but you got
that young pitcher.
Yeah. We knew we
got
weren't
some monsters there.
We knew we weren't going to beat anybody.
Right.
But it was nice to at least.
Yeah, we made it, and I was like, just don't lose to the Yankees, but we did it anyways.
Right.
But our team was super young. I think we had like 5-6 rookies on there.
Right.
And then Chapman was just phenomenal.
Unbelievable. He didn't give up a hit from
like
6
and then the
weeks.
A's get him.
Yeah.
The only thing that had me worried is he sweat a lot. Like he was profusely sweating in like Cleveland. And I was like, "Are we okay, bro? Is this?" Because he was shredded. 37 years old, throwing 103.
Yeah.
I grew up in the A's era, with the Bash Brothers and stuff. So I was like, oh boy, are we good? I've seen a little Barry Bond forehead coming in here. And again, Barry Bond should be in the Hall of Fame.
100%.
Never failed a test.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the
people's foreheads grow. You don't know how Mother Nature works.
Yeah.
You can't prove it.
The greatest hitter
of all
time that we'll ever see in our lifetime. I think.
I remember. 72 home. I remember where I was when he hit the deal, when he went yard. I was in Louisville, Texas, watching, and I was like, working out for the Cowboys at the time, and I was like, this dude is, and I like the Red Sox. We were irrelevant at that time, but I was like this guy, and he had so many guys around him, so many monsters. You had Sosa, McGwire, you had Frank Thomas, you had in Detroit, you had Cecil Fielder, you had Rod Deere, you had all these guys that were just monsters, and he was just so far above them.
Yeah. Well, he got 3 pitches every week to hit.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, not throwing nothing to him.
And he hit them all.
Yeah, and then I got lucky. We got Ortiz. Thank you, Minnesota. And broke the curse. But I think we started a new curse.
You think so?
Yeah, I think we did. We made some really bad. When we traded Devers, I was like, here comes the curse. Like, you don't trade a Yankees killer because he's a little pain in the ass in the dugout and got nothing back for him.
Right. No, you didn't.
We didn't get nothing back for him.
Ouch.
And it was just the management didn't like. And we had all those young guys. And like I said, and then, of course, we had the veterans. I don't think I missed a game this year. I was on my app. I don't think I missed a game. Like, I made a conscious effort to make like you had redemption and stuff like that, and I'm like, I was having some issues with my marriage, me being knucklehead and stupid, and listening to fans more than my wife, all that fun shit.
Sure.
And I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna watch baseball again. I'm gonna get back to just watching baseball. It's gonna take at least 2 hours of my time. I just sit patiently, watch the game, make sure I learn all my players' names, and I'm just gonna watch baseball. Baseball will I don't need the noise, know.
Right.
And it was phenomenal, like just absolutely phenomenal.
I get that. I wrote this book to the musical soundtrack that is baseball. It's the only thing I could have on the television with any volume at all.
Right.
And it was usually like a 2.
Because you don't need it.
Just to hear enough, just to hear
the crowd go on the strikeout or hear the ball click, boom.
Just something, just to turn. But that was. This was written with baseball because it's poetic.
It is, with all the other great sports in this country. It is our pastime.
Yeah, I tried writing to football, and it was a disaster.
Chaotic.
Yeah, it was.
And you have to watch,
right?
And although listen, I've been known to yell at a lot of umpires. I interviewed Cal Ripken one time. Like, I went to Baltimore. Went to enemy territory.
Okay.
To talk to him.
How was that?
It was awesome. He was awesome. He gave me a bat.
Oh, wow.
But
game used?
I asked him. No, he didn't like me that much.
Okay.
It was his minor league baseball club, but it's still a bat.
Sure.
I'll take it. And I asked him about, because I'm a purist, and I was like, do you really want to see a robot umpire behind the plate? And I was expecting the purest answer, and he says, I cannot wait.
Wow.
The players, because they're like, umpires have too much power.
Wow. Wow.
They don't like you. The strike zone gets tighter.
Sure.
And we see, when they make a bad call, they won't fix it. He's like, they have too much power.
Right. I mean,
Checks and balances. So I'm like, human error is part of the game. That's
Angel Hernandez, is that the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was he was an extreme example of all of that, wasn't he?
And I know this is going to make me sound misogynistic, that the first female umpire and the first strike she called was like a foot outside the zone.
Was it really?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is my nightmare.
Wow.
This is my nightmare.
She made a few good calls.
She was fine. She was fine. She was no worse than any other umpire.
Right.
They blow calls every game behind the plate.
Right.
So
when I heard about her, it was like, all right, well, hold on, let's see how this plays out. And then when I saw her, I was like, oh, well, of course.
Yeah.
She just like fit in perfectly. Just the attitude and she just looked like a baseball lifer.
Yeah, and I think you have to be.
Is what I'm talking
to be
about.
An umpire.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with whether you pee sitting up or sitting down.
It doesn't.
Either you know the game or you don't.
Exactly.
And baseball's the one sport where they will see through it like that.
Yes.
You cannot bullshit your way through with a baseball fan.
No.
If you're like, 3-6 double, and they're like, oh, what base is that exactly? And so, and they're telling me, I got to let you go.
It's over. Yeah.
We're done. Whatever this was.
Damn.
But no, man, it's been an absolute
likewise.
pleasure, man.
Likewise.
And man, it was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. And congratulations on all your new success, and good luck with the book and the documentary. And I'm going to finish watching it tonight.
Oh, right on. Awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. And next time I'm on Gutfeld, you're going to be there.
I'll typically be there.
Okay.
Unless, of course, there's jumping or a baseball game going on.
Course.
That's why I stay an independent contractor. Can't miss the kids. I missed enough. So now I try not to miss anything.
Right on.
As much as I can.
I got you.